Oh wait, sorry Tando, that's your mom's name. Kate, wow, look at... Hold up, wrong person. Whose life is it anyway? Who are you raising your children to become? A version of you or themselves? Find out this Friday at 3 p.m. We are women. We are brave, strong, capable, unique. We are women to women.
Good afternoon, South Africa. We are here enjoying and talking about our autumn. The month of May is middle of autumn, and we can already notice the dropping in temperatures. We are already going back to our coats. But the pleasure is to be here sharing this program with you, with the viewers from South Africa, viewers from all around the world that are responding and participating, being active in comments and questions. Today, we wanted to share with you a reality, sad reality, we have been noticing escalating in our country. But truth is, bullying is affecting every country in the world. So we are going to talk a little bit about how the concept changed, because studies show that bullying is over 40 years, so much more before, but they started making scientific studies about bullying 40 years ago. So it's nothing something that's happening now, but it has been changing in concept and turning into violence. So, did any of you suffered bullying before?
Yes, I did.
What kind? What was bullying in your time?
Okay, bullying in my time, it was maybe there's a child that doesn't like you. Maybe because of the way you speak, your family. I think for me, more also it had to do with the lunchbox as well, because some would get money and then I would be the kid with the lunchbox. So they would pick on me with that. And sometimes they would steal like your stationery, your pens, your pencils, and all of those things. There'd be a lot of name calling. Then there was a popular thing that Tammy and I even discussed, where if someone really doesn't like you, they'd make a vow like after school is after school, because then, unlike today, fights would not happen in school premises. So they would have to wait for after school and then the fight would break out outside. But compared today, it wasn't as violent as it's becoming today. It was just kids picking on other kids because maybe they have a better lifestyle, or maybe there's things that they don't have. Another thing I'd be picked on was that my dad would take me to school. So the others didn't understand, like, oh, you're daddy's baby, like you're a baby, you're always crying. But that was something that was beautiful for me, because then my dad could take me to school. But because their parents didn't take them to school and they came with school transportation, then it was an issue for them.
What was your problem?
We had a class bully. This was like 20 plus years ago in primary school. There was a class bully. The problem with her was that she was not as bright as the other students. So I think that's what made her to be the class bully. So it she could choose whoever she wanted, and most of the time it would be my turn. And as Precious said, she would say after school is after school. But because I was such a coward, I would make sure that I was the first one out of the school. And I remember I used to take the train. I would go straight before I would be the first one out of the gate. And I think with time she got the message that I was really scared of her, and she let me go. So she didn't really beat me up, but I think if I had stood up for myself, I would have been beaten up. But because she saw that I was just a coward.
But in 20 years ago, did you see beating up of other students in school, or it was more stealing these, or mocking about hairstyles, skin complexion?
I think back then the most I saw was like a slap, because usually the bully would pick on someone weaker than
Yeah.
them. So then they'll slap that girl.
It
and
was
there won't be
a
any
game of
retaliation.
intimidation.
Yes,
It is basically.
yeah. So she'll push you, she'll
In the
pull your
queue.
hair and stuff, and then you'll just run away. Like as Tammy said, I was also that girl. Like I'll get sick, I'll do something. If I can't come out first, I'll be the last one to leave the school. So then I think it's not as bad as it is today. Like where now both parties are fighting and it gets violent and there's weapons, there's stabbing and all of those things.
Any bullying in school.
I used to suffer as well because I had.
But we didn't even know the name of bullying. We would say, she's persecuting on me, she's picking on me.
Yeah, they would call all the time because I would look different because I was having a fringe and my hair was very long. So they would pull my hair and I would go back home crying. And my mom would say, "But what's happening? No, they don't like me." But they were after me while I was giving attention as well. All the time. When they would see me crying, that they would push more. They would call me names. And my mom said, "Just pretend. Nothing is happened." By then, it was not violent like today. It was a push, it was a touch of the hair. And in this way, I managed to calm them down. Like I was fine. They would call me names. I would just laugh. My mom would say, "Stop bothering so much and showing to them that you care what they are saying and they are really pushing you in words and all that." Then they just left me. So, but today we don't see that. Sometimes the parents, they don't give much attention the signs the children can give. And also the child doesn't know how to behave. And the bullying now, it's a group bullying. A lot of people together. I remember it was one girl, like she said, one girl would be the one, and we were a lot. Like if we would unite ourselves, she would lose power. But today we see the group of people, and when we see both, they have problem. The one who bullies, and then the one who suffer the bullying. Because normally that girl doesn't have what, if I bully Kito, it's because she has something that I don't have, and I'm trying to make her small. So that's signs that the parents can see.
Yeah, and as Ms. Massa was saying, that it was more of, a slap than really the aggression that we see these days. Because one time is saying that usually there will be that girl, maybe the bigger one in class, that is a bit tough, that will pick up on you because you're small. I remember that I used to be very tiny, and they would pick up on me, and you are dirty, you are this and that. But then for it to go to a fight, I remember that they will challenge the both of you. So you're going to beat her. So it's not even us deciding. It's like the two of you have provoked each other, and then these other ones, they want to see if you're going to fight. But for that to happen, they have to. I remember you used to pick up mud on the floor, sand, and then the other one has to slap the sand to say, yes, I agree. And if no one, then there's no fight. So it was more of, it was like a challenge, but then nothing of aggression. I don't remember, like I remember I slept once. And then after that, I decided, we're going to fight after school, outside school. But then outside school, I knew my brother was there, and then they knew, her brother is going to beat you. So at least then I saw that it's school, I'm going to lose because they're going to beat me. But if I say outside school, then outside school I can say my brother is going to come, because then my brother wouldn't come inside of school to beat them. So it was those kind, but it was never anything really aggressive or violent, or where you get bruised or all these kind of things. No.
I think we were from a very fortunate generation, because in my time, they would pick on those who would be smarter. So words like we say today, nerd, it was part of the bullying. So you would feel very bad if someone would call you, in my country, the similar to nerd. And to a certain extent today, it would be a compliment. And that was the bullying all about. However, the nation a month ago was shocked by the news, and our prayers and our hearts and our condolences to the family of Lufuno, a 15-year-old girl from Limpopo who was aggressively assaulted by a fellow student, 15-year-old as well. And because she couldn't take in more that bullying, that assault in school, and others encouraging the fight and the aggression, she got home without the knowledge of parents. And she drank pills, and it was impossible to bring her back to life. So our prayers to the family. And that shocking news brought about another shocking reality, that bullying, that was never pleasant, but in old days was children's thing. It's becoming now acts of violence. It's becoming gangsterism. So when we send kids to school to study, to grow, to have experiences and friendships, and many parents resort still to send them to school physically instead of online studying, so that they can interact, they can have a sense of social relations and friendship, they are now faced with violence and assault. So I don't mean to shock you further, but we mean to bring you awareness of what is happening. And when we went to see what was really happening in our country, after watching a terrible video that circulated in the social media about the violent act that Lufuno went through, we went through stats, and we realized that most of the stats that we have in South Africa, they dated up to March of 2020, because of course, going through the hard lockdown and the pandemic, it changed a bit the scenario for 1 year. That happened a month ago. We are in 2021. So to our amazement and surprise, we have recorded 9 murders and 19 attempted murders, which were recorded between April 2019 and March 2020 when the hard lockdown came in. The statistics show that we have 345 assault with intention of grievous bodily harm and 546 common assault cases. And those are not all that have been recorded, because we know for a fact that many students, they keep it for themselves and they keep it from their parents or from their guardians who could step in and could help. So this is turning more than just children's or teenagers act. This is turning into violence. And the whole structure of police and education system in the country are now very active in trying to curb the fact. There are teachers that record they have been facing not bullying, threats, and they are afraid even to go and teach in certain schools. So that brought us with a question: what do we do if you are a parent or if you are a student? How can you avoid bullying? And it seems it's being very difficult these days. So we are going to share with you the word of a social worker that is involved with supporting students in that level, and also the account of someone who has suffered bullying in school. We are going to be back.
My name is Nasipa Ngobo. I'm working as an auxiliary social worker.
Hi, my name is Melissa.
Bullying is an issue that we are facing in South Africa, and most of the children who go to school, they are going through it, and they are afraid to talk about it, to say that they are going through abuse.
My first incident was around grade 3 or 4, and it was a time where we were playing around in like the school field, and I don't know what I did to this girl for her to be so angry, to get someone to hold me down, and she kicked me. After that, I just got up, and then because I was never a very outspoken person, so I just kept it in, and I was like, no, maybe it's my fault. I got her angry and things like that. So I blamed myself for her reaction.
Children who are going through bullying, parents can look out for signs. It differs with children. It's not the same. Some of the children, if bullying is happening at school, they'll be crying a lot, not wanting to go to school. A child will be irritable, like would cry over nothing and over everything. A child will change the way they dress, the way they eat. Maybe one does not want to be with friends, want to close herself in a room, not talk to anybody, not go to play, isolating themselves.
People would say negative things about me, spread rumors about me, and all those other things where it was like things that would bring me down. And whenever I try to stand up and fight for myself and be like, but this is not true, then no one would believe me. And when I got to new school, I was now in a boarding school. And it was a thing of, I was made mockery of, I was told I was average. And it was like, there was always this group of girls that always had something to say about me. So it was, I never wanted to do my best, because whenever I stuck out and I did good, they had something to say. I started performing so badly at school. So it was that thing of, why don't I just die? Why can't I just collapse and just disappear from the face of the earth?
Parents need to make sure that their children, they trust them. Because if the child senses that they don't trust the parent or they don't trust you, it will be a problem for them to open up.
Because I felt rejected at home, I never felt like I never had anyone to go to. So I didn't see the need of telling any of my cousins that I went to school with, or either my mom or anyone at home.
So once the child is fully aware that the parent will support her, will support her through everything, will be there for her, whatever that is going on, then the child will see that, okay, I can trust my mom or I can trust my sister, and then we'll open up. So if a child happens to tell you or to tell a parent that I am being bullied at school, a parent needs to believe the child the first time, whether the child approach or you ask. So you need to believe the first time when the child is saying, I am being bullied. And then you ask the child the questions that leads to you getting the whole story. What is happening? How are you being bullied? Who is bullying you? When does it happen?
So because I felt like I wasn't a good enough daughter at home, and at school I wasn't even a good enough friend or classmate and all of that, I got to a point where I was like, you know what, I'm on my own in this world. That's where like thoughts started suggesting to like, why don't you kill yourself? And this was from a really young age. So I had this bad tendency knowing that taxis go like no one's business. So Joburg is a very busy place. So I would walk without looking at the traffic lights, hoping that one of the cars would hit me. As years went by, when I got to high school, especially when I changed to a new school, it got more intense. From the 14th floor, I tried, what is this? Like I looked down and I wanted to throw myself. Like my cousin was there, she held my hand and she's like, what you doing? Let's go back home. I tried stabbing myself. Like I got into an argument with my mom, and it was that thing of, I've never been good enough, so why do I bother being still alive?
The parent also, they must not just jump into conclusion when the child is telling them, I'm being bullied. You become angry, you want to go to school, you want to go to fight. You must involve the child, because the child knows is the one that is feeling the pain. So they are the one that knows what is happening. So you need to involve them. You need to ask them, so how can I help you? You need to make sure that the child is fully aware of every step. Don't hide anything. Don't do anything behind their back, because they will lose their trust in a parent.
I got to a point where I got committed in the YPG. And that's when I made a few friends. And one of them I got really close to. An incident at home happened. It was so bad. It was really bad. And that's when I actually ended up opening up to her, and I told her what was actually going on. And from there, that's where I got a mentor. And that's where I reached out for help. That's where I started actually opening up and being honest about what was actually going on through, like inside my mind, and what was actually going on, like the truth around me. So like I dropped the whole facade. What I would say to someone that's going through that is, one of the things you think during that time is, only special people can overcome this. I would tell someone out there that that's not true. Your opinion matters. You have so much value that even though you don't see it now, in due time, when you start valuing yourself, you will see it, because it's not for special people. Help is not there for special people. Courage is not there for certain types of people born at like from certain backgrounds. Yo, listen, I'm the one that lost a lot. I have that mindset too. Even if someone says, I can't do this, even if someone tries to bring me down, even if circumstances around me happen and it is so much that it tries to put me down, I'm able to still get back up and be like, you know what, I can do this. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the road for me.
So what can you do? Do not join these groups. Afraid of being bullied, you decide to join them. Report. Seek for help. Melissa is part of our YPG. It's a project that we have in our churches throughout the country and in other countries that gives support to the youth in the day battles. And one of the active projects they have is how to support them when they think about suicide. And unfortunately, many of their thoughts on suicide are related to the bullying they're going through in school. So you get our number, our WhatsApp number, our helpline number, and if you need the support, we are here for you. Now, today we are going to explore whose life is it anyway? And the topic is basically on, and the word is a bit interesting, living vicarious through someone's life. In other words, is when you live through someone's achievements in lives. So whose life is it anyway? Is it hers or yours? Or somehow you are influencing. And that happens a lot with children. But before, let me define for you vicarious. It is experience in the imagination through the feelings or actions of someone else. So parents, they tend to have that kind of behavior because they wish so much for their children, and they end up wishing the achievements they didn't have. So they become happy or sad according to the experiences of their children. But that goes in an intensive mode because now they play an influence. So there are signs just for you to see if that is applicable to you as a parent. There are signs that you need to count on. When you have an obsessive involvement in your child's activities, especially in the expense of their hobbies. When you want to dictate what are the extracurriculums, when you have high expectations on their sports activities, and when now you make decisions on their behalf. You have this young, beautiful girl, and you always wanted to dance ballet, but you didn't have the opportunity. Now you make the decision that she needs to go to ballet classes, but she tells you, Mom, I don't like ballet. I would like to play volleyball. No, volleyball is not for you. You are going to do ballet. You're making a decision for that child that sometimes go even against their nature. And finally, when you reprimand your child seriously for the results they achieved or they didn't achieve, the low performance in extracurriculum activities, because who knows, you wanted to be the captain of the soccer team and you didn't have that opportunity. Now your child has to have it. However, she or he did not achieve that result, you reprimanded seriously. So we see a lot of that behavior in parenthood, but not only that. There is so much more that we don't realize how many times people are living through someone else's life. And the frustration is on both sides.
We have people who live vicariously through celebrities. And this for me was a shock because it can be disguised as being a fan, as liking the person. And it's very hard to notice when you are living your life through a celebrity's life or through social media as well. And one of the signs that I can add is the first thing in the morning when you go to your social media, Instagram or Facebook, whose page do you go to first? And who's that person that you follow? Whatever she does, whatever hairstyle she does, you do. And we have hashtag couple goals. We have married people who live as well through those couples. Maybe it's the wife and not the husband, but the wife wants the husband to be so much like that husband who's on social media that it suffocates the husband. And it's the same with kids as well, that they become suffocated. The parents are suffocating the children, and sometimes the wife is suffocating the husband because she is living vicariously through that couple. She wants to be hashtag couple goals as well. But the thing is, when you are emotionally, physically, mentally in that space and you are substituting yourself and your life with that celebrity's life, then you are no longer living your own life. So whatever she does, you do. Whatever she supports, you support. So you have to check which celebrity do you love the most, that you support everything they do, everything they say, you are there. It's like, if they fail, it's like you are failing as well, and their success is your success. So
Yeah, because it is based on feelings.
it's based on feelings.
So you feel the result or the achievement of someone else.
Yes, and it even comes to a point where if on social media they are being bullied as well, then you step in That person doesn't know you, but you love that person so much that you feel like you are going to fight her battles. It's in your mind, it's like you are BFFs, you are besties, you are everything. She knows you, you know her, but that's the thing. She doesn't know you, but you love her so much that your life has become her life. You don't know, you can't differentiate anymore. Like, what is my life? Because and some people they it's so funny because
It's not a trend. Let us make clear. It goes beyond a
yes,
trend.
yes.
Is the person who knows incorporate the looks of others. So you change your hair, you use your makeup, you dress in the same manner. So if the person gets married, you not need to get married. If she decides to be a single parent, you now.
Yes, it's obsession. I think borderline obsession that even some people might even they even feel they even like it when people say, "Oh, you look like so and so," their favorite celebrity, and they feel like they've made it in life, and that is very dangerous. Living your life through somebody else's life is extremely dangerous.
Another part is with parenting. We have the society that's called the Debutante Society, where it's a group of young ladies that are groomed in society to actually be your, I can say, your perfect housewives, whereby they will be now involved in charity balls, they'll be involved in from the age I think of like when they're like teens, 11 and so. So these girls don't go around just dating any guy. It doesn't matter if she likes maybe a boy from school. It has to be a guy that attends these balls and she is introduced. So it's almost like the families coming together that are influential and they say, okay, your family deals in this type of business and ours is in this type of business. So imagine if now we come together and merge, it means it's going to be a power couple. So they're groomed to be these power couples. But now what is sad is that you find a lot of these young girls when they go to college or university, they meet other maybe people that they never got to know. And when she thinks every year she has to attend this ball, whether they like it or not.
And the lifestyle is very different,
Yes,
I
the
guess.
lifestyle is very posh. There's rules, even what they wear. It's not like you just go with whatever dress you want. There's a specific type of dress, a specific hairstyle. They are taught how to dance. I think they first start with their dads, and then when they're coming of 15, they get introduced to the other young men. Now, in that, it doesn't matter if that girl, I've seen where a young girl does not want to be with that guy. She is forced by the family. Like we made, it's almost like an arrangement. Like this is what we agreed on, and this is what's going to set you.
Modern days arrangement. Like the old days, parents would come together and decide about the marriage of their children. This is a modern day arrangement with benefits for both families.
Yes, it benefits both families to an extent whereby even the families are so involved that even in the running of the household, should that young girl get married, the parents are involved in it. And you find a lot of moms, it's more of a society status thing for them because then you have that daughter that everybody loves, that everybody knows. She's married into this family. So say maybe the woman gets a child that is more active, like she wants to play soccer, she wants to play rugby, she likes camping and all of those things. It's a taboo for the mom because already when she's pregnant and she finds out it's a girl, she already starts planning that girl's process in life. Like the school she's going to is already set out, the camps that she goes to, and to show that it's so much of a thing that they literally live through their kids. They actually, one I heard, she said that she signed up her daughter for that camp 6 years before. So the child already grew up knowing that I have to go to that camp when I turn this age. And when it got to that age, it was funny that even the luggage, the mom chose, like, this is the type of luggage I ordered for you. This is what I want you to go with and stuff. And the child was just there, like, rolling her eyes, like, but I don't want to go there. I don't fit in with those people. So they don't even want to consider that. Sometimes kids do tell parents, like, I don't like it. I don't want to be there, but she doesn't care. Then we also have this funny thing that we saw where kids are forced into activities, as you mentioned earlier, modeling. We had a show that was called, I think, Tots and Tiaras. And it would be so funny because you'd find a 1 year old and you ask yourself.
For me, I think it's sad. It's very sad what these shows do to our children, to the values that they place in their minds, that They didn't grow old enough to be able to compare and say, this is what I want.
No, so you find that 1 year old, or maybe now she's 5, and you hear her, like when you look in her room, she has like trophies and tiaras. And you'll ask yourself, but then how did she acquire that if she's only 5? And you'll find out the baby has been entering pageants from maybe when they were 6 months, when they were 4 months. So the mom will literally take that little baby and put her on stage. And you see in most cases when you hear the interviews, the child doesn't want to be there. She is screaming, like moments before she goes on the ramp. Kids are screaming, they don't want to go on. But because she is taught to do that, the mom promises her something like, okay, if you do this, I'm going to give you this. Then the child goes, and it's almost like an act, because the child goes, smiles, laughs, and everything. But the sad part is they don't even teach them how, like, real life, because that child is groomed to only win. So even if she
And that is the point that I wanted to highlight behind it. It's not the will of the child. We all have been girls, and we know I was more of a tomboy as a girl. I didn't like those pink dresses my mom would dress me. At a certain stage, she even started dressing me with dark colors because she knew I was coming back home very dirty, because I would play more with the boys and all that. But there are those that naturally they very girly, they very pinkish, they like the balls, they like these things. But what I see is that the mother projects the desire she had as a young child, and now she forces her daughter to be whom this girl is not. It's more of her. I think Tammy, if she would have a child, she would buy what? A Barbie.
That's true. I would name her Pups.
Because she didn't have, so now my child will have, and maybe this child would look at her and say, I don't want a Barbie.
And another thing as well is it's the kind of things that they subject these babies and these kids, because they start taking them for manicures. You see a small baby with manicure, they go for spas, and you're like, they put the hair like
They don't have time to
and
be
you
a
see that this
child.
child wants to be a child, but then it's like somebody's pushing you to be an adult and behave like an adult while you're still young, and they don't have that chance. That's why they are really emotionally disturbed. That's what, as I've seen them before, like before they go, they are crying, they're screaming, and the mom is calming them down, doing everything like, be the lady, and she just wants to be a child.
And one of the saddest ones was when they showed another part where there's, I think, a natural one where they have to come natural. Funny enough, you would think it will be easy for the moms, but that's the one they struggle the most with, because they always want to add hair extension, they want to add a bit of makeup, a bit of this, and a lot of kids get disqualified for that because they said it's a natural pageant. They can't look like dolls, because it goes as far as kids wearing contact lenses. Imagine like a 3-year-old.
How old?
Like 3, 2.
No,
Normally,
this
it
this
would
is
be-
cruelty. Sorry to say.
Because I think the ones that stands the most chance to win are the ones with blue eyes and blonde hair. So that's the extension. So imagine a 3-year-old being colored in blonde and with blue extensions. I mean, blue eye contact. So.
And the disappointment now that comes, the mother, when we try to sometimes to tell her, don't you think you are being mad? She looks to herself and say, no, I want the best for my child. She can't clearly see.
It comes from a good heart, but with a
Yes.
wrong.
So the child
Purpose.
is suffering sometimes because they are pushed to do something they don't want to do. But the mother having that heart, but I want the best for my child. But you want the best for her or for you through her? Because then you are making your child to be something that she doesn't want. And the disappointed when you follow the celebrities, as Tam was saying, it's so that extent that looks like you know that person for a long time. And maybe you go to a show or you meet that person in the shopping mall and you are there like, you know me, but I follow you and I'm always after you. And I went to this show, to this place. And the celebrities even trying like to be pleasant, but is that how come she doesn't know me? And the disappointment, it's like, but I spend my whole life trying to be like her. And now I'm not recognized as the top fan of this person. I want to be the number one of the one that in her life. And the celebrities, they have a lot of people following them. So the disappointment that you have as well, imagining that that person is a perfect person and she's a human being. And the disappointment of the child. Now, I can't cope with what my mom is asking me to do. It's becoming too much. They get to be rebellious. They go to the extreme of being depressed.
They're going to drugs.
Yes, because it's too much now. I can't cope. And then we have mother and child not happy. So it's hard.
I have counseled ladies that they were studying university, something they didn't like, and they said, I'm doing that just for the sake of my parents, because they chose what I was going to study. The minute I finish it, I'm going to go and study what I want. And when they are bold enough to say, Daddy, Mom, I don't want this, the disappointment of the parents, it's so intense that they look at that child as if she was doing something wrong. They get embarrassed. They don't talk about that child with their family. And when you seek deep about the reasons, it's not necessarily the child is doing something wrong. The child is just denying to live a life that is not hers. She is not fit for that. She doesn't want that. She has other plans in her life. And as I said, one of the signs is you make the decisions for your child. And as we also mentioned, it's not with an evil intention. It with the purpose to do them well, to guide them in a proper way of life. However, it's more for your own satisfaction rather than the satisfaction of this child. But believe me, this also happens in church.
Yes, it happens a lot. And as we have said, just as there are consequences out there in the world, even inside of the church, we do see very, very sad consequences. Because sometimes you find a mother that comes to the church and they've lived their lives. When she comes, she's older, she has already her kids and all that, and she has had her own experiences in life. She had disappointments, maybe love life. She's a single mother and all that, and then she has this young girl now that is growing up, maybe from CBC, and because of the disappointment that they had in their own life and wishing they could have found God earlier and made better choices before. Now they are that ideal life that they didn't have. They are now wanting to have it through their child, who is now from the CBC, because we have seen many times, we see mothers who, she's a child, but you want to dress her. No, she's Mam Fundisi. She's going to be Mam Ruti. And you see that it's like she's not even allowing that child to just be a child, because everything, she wants the Mam Ruti to, the pastor's wife has to mentor her because I want her to be behaved. And that child doesn't understand, why am I always, it's like I'm being, how can I say it? You are being trained to be something that you don't really even understand, because most of the time they don't understand. And then we see them becoming teens and in the YPG. And I remember even incidences where, even the way they behave, there was even incidences where you find the mother say, no, you have to go and sit next to the pastor's wife. You have to go in and speak to the pastor's wife. And this child now, she becomes a youth and they have that thing, I want to be a pastor's wife, but they don't even understand what is it that it's supposed to be. They're just portraying a behavior because that's expectation of the mother. You mentor that child not to help them to become what they want to be, God to direct their lives, but you have, a life that you have created a life that you see through that child, like, no, she's going to be a pastor's wife, or she's going to achieve this, she's going to be an assistant, she's going to be that. And sometimes you find even in the youth, young girls that are frustrated because the mother's like, no, you have to go to church. I remember in one incident where the girl is like, my mother doesn't speak to me about anything. All she wants is read the Bible, go to church. Read the Bible, go to church. And when I was sitting down with this girl, she was like, these things of bullying, they do happen to our kids, even in the church. But because we are so focused in them becoming women of God, and she has to portray that behavior, she can't even tell you, Mom, I'm being tempted to do something wrong. Because for you as a mother or for you as a mentor, it's not something that is supposed to happen. No, you have the good teachings, you have the right things. We are taking you to church, this and this and this. You need to behave like this. And then they don't get the chance to be themselves. and be honest when they are going through challenges and even develop into what they want. They end up doing something that you wanted them to be. And then now along the way, because they were just doing it, they became an assistant because my mom wants me to be an assistant. My mom wants me to do this. They are there, they are an assistant, they are not happy. Their mind, their emotions and feelings are in the world. And now when they can decide, now that's when they rebel. That's when they don't want to come to church. That's when they feel like, now I can decide what to do. But maybe if you have allowed that child to be a child, to go through her own journey with God, to do her own mistakes, maybe they could have turned out better. But these are the mistakes. Even mentors, even when we are, as assistants in the church, sometimes we push them too much.
Even as pastors' wives, if we are not aware of this, we end up grooming someone to be an assistant, and maybe she doesn't want to be an assistant.
And then the end is not good. So it's something that we have to be careful of when we see a difference in our own lives, not to push other people, because sometimes, and I think I even have an experience of that I've shared before, that I was very emotional before and very sensitive, and everything was hurting me. And now when I changed, I wanted everyone to understand you cannot be emotional, but they needed to go their own space. They needed to go through their own experiences, the mistakes, learn, and with time they'll get there.
Whenever we call someone or some groups of the church for a meeting, it's funny that there will be those ones who will say, I'm not going to join because I know they wanted to talk about to serve God on the altar. It's a preconcept. And sometimes I wonder, where is this coming from? Because sometimes we want to talk about things of women. We want to guide somehow on love life, not necessarily to groom from the altar. But there is a perception that if we are going to do a meeting, is to talk only about the altar. And I wonder where this is coming from. And maybe it's coming from those who would like to be in the altar, and for different reasons. They could not, because they came to church, they were already married, old, and now they are placing in people's minds that whenever we call for a meeting, even the self-help meeting, godlywood meeting, it's for the altar. And those are the misperceptions that we have, not out of evil intentions, but because it's the drive of being fulfilled through someone's life. Working with disciples, I always want that my disciples would do better than me. That's a priority. I want them to do so much more, but I have to understand that I cannot push them to be me or to do what I think is the best. We all need to lead them to have a relationship with God. Just after the break, I want to prove a point. I wanted to show to you that you don't need to live through someone's life because God has a life for you. We are going to be right back.
Legama lengosi malibongwe, hai malibongwe, kiti malibongwe, hauigama uchesu pagete, upagete, hai upagete, oh uchesu, hai uchesu namanda. Hayu unamanda, oh Jesu, unamanda. Hayu unamanda, oh Jesu, pagete. Hayu pagete, oh Jesu, oh lo 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 lo, oh lo 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 lo, oh lo lo, oh lo lo Oh Lolo, oh Lolo, ikawalengo si Malibongwe, 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 Malibongwe. Ikamalengo si Malibongwe, 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 Malibongwe. Oh, Ikama. Lo Jesu pageme, siti upageme, upageme, upageme. Oh Jesu, siti ya. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh wow. Oh the Lord, oh the Lord, the Lord, oh the Lord, oh the Lord, who Jesus pagete, siti upagete, 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 oh Jesus pagete.
Welcome to the second part of our show. And now we are going to give you a tip. We are going to prove that you don't need to live through someone else's life. You probably have your frustrations because you didn't achieve all that you wanted. I do. We always had that dream. It never came about. But it does not mean that we need to fulfill that dream through someone else, especially when we come to God, because God gives value, purpose to our lives. When we accept Jesus, we start living for Him and not anymore for us. And I am in perfect peace with the dreams I had as a teenager that I did not achieve, because now they were just a reason to mention. What I have now makes perfect sense and makes me to be so fulfilled, because I know I'm living the life that God has for me. In Ephesians 2:10, we read, "For we are His workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them." So when God gives us good works, but let us understand before the concept of being God's workmanship. Those of you who work with artwork, those of you who are able to paint, who are able to create something from raw materials, you know how nice it is when you complete your piece. Each one of us are customized, a special piece of work from God. We are tools from God for good works. So when we concentrate on the good works that God wants to do through us, it does not matter what I wanted for myself. We develop for those good works. And it is when I think I cannot, God tells me I can. When I think I don't have what to say, God fills my mind with what to say. So I don't need to live a life that I deem to be the perfect life, because the life that God is giving to me is perfect and it's fulfilled. And of course, I'm not special. God wants to do the same with you. And He finishes saying that we should walk in these good works. Walk knowing that God has it in His control. So whatever happens, if I get it, if I don't get it, if I achieve and if I don't achieve, everything works for perfect harmony in my life according to God's desire. It's no longer what I think it's best. It's no longer what I thought I could have, but it is really what God is giving to me in every area of my life, day after day. Register this verse, and whenever you have that kind of frustration, you didn't achieve this, or someone else that you were counting so much on, projecting your life upon, did not correspond to your expectations, remember, you don't need to live through them. You have a life God has given to you, a life that will bring you perfect success within His will, and you will be content. You will be happy. You will be fulfilled in a life of your own. If it's still difficult for you to understand it, just surrender to God. And now in this prayer, you are going to say, God, I had so many expectations, and they have been frustrated. And I have been living a life even through people in the church. If I look at my relationship with you, it's based on someone else. But I want you to surrender. And I want now to embrace the life that you have for me. Please close your eyes.
My Lord, in the name of Jesus, visit right now all those who are watching us. Maybe they are going through a difficult moment. They suffered bullying before, as we spoke, and they carry still the pain inside of them. They can't see your plan for their lives, but you have, my God. Each one of them are included in your plan. So, my Father, make this woman to see her value. Make this person, this young lady, to see, even though if someone does not give her the value that she wants, you value each one of us. You gave your life to us. So, my God, make this person to change, to see life through your eyes, to see opportunities each and every day. My God, bless each one of them. Make them to have the courage to speak out if they are bottling up so many things and they are now not finding solution. Take this person out of depression. Take this person out of this moment that she thinks she has no one by her side, but you are there. And we are here, my God, to support them to overcome their challenge and to pray for them and to see them to find the best life that you have designed to each one of them. My God, we bless all of them in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. We spoke a few shows ago about how we women like tips. How we enjoy when someone says, do this, I did this, and it worked well. So our next week's show, we are going to explore these tips that we get here and there in various areas of our lives. Do as I say, do as I do. And does it really work? We are going to find out next week. Until then, God bless you all. Have a great weekend in the presence of God and embrace the life that God has for you. You're going to be totally fulfilled. Bye-bye.
Let me tell you a quick story. There once was a gym instructor. She walked into that class so brave and strong. She had one mission, preparing those summer bodies. The instruction, do exactly as she does. Simple, right? Well, until everyone realized that the fish can't carry weights, the giraffe can't climb trees, and I'm just a voice. So do as I do? What do you think happened at the end of this story? Psst! Join us this Friday at 3 p.m. to find out.